Hello and welcome to the 97th episode of Redeeming the Time. I'm your host, Jake Wells. This is my dad, Keith Esteban Wells, and thank you for watching yet another one. We're at 97, 3 away from the big time.
It's the big time.
Will we make it?
Well, you.
Just kidding.
You're rough today, buddy.
I feel great right now. But, yeah, if you would like to contact the show, you can contact us with the email, redeemingthetimepod@gmail.com.
Cool.
So,
Weird time to have allergies in November.
I think I think I tell you this every time.
Yeah.
I get it after everybody.
Yeah.
I might be sick. I don't know.
Lovely.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I don't feel the greatest, but we are 97 in, and the show must go on.
Stay on target.
So I figured something out today, that every time I go to speak, like if you're talking on the podcast, I'm just gonna put it out there because I'm gonna be thinking about it. So I'm just gonna let you know. When I'm teaching, when I am speaking, if you're talking and then I'm wanting to say something, I make a noise. I make like a little like noise, and then I speak, and I do it when I teach as well. Like if there's a long pause.
What's the noise?
I don't know, but people, there were a few teens that thought it was, yeah. And then at lunch today, they're like, "Yeah, you do it on the podcast too." It's like, oh man. So if I start laughing, it's probably because I realized what I did. So I don't know.
Well, that's good. Then you'll stop. You notice that and you stop doing it. It's like a hum or a or all those types of things. So we had a fun weekend. We went down to Manderley Camp down in Pikeville, Tennessee. It was pretty cool. And beautiful camp. It's only been there 8 years. They can run around 200 kids. I think they can get a capacity of 300. And they got a chapel and a really nice field that they've cleared out. And now they have a view of the sunset because the guys cut down all kinds of crazy trees. Man, they had thicket everywhere. These just...
You got cut up.
Everybody's got like little cuts like this big. I mean, nothing major at all. But man alive, they were everywhere. The guy brought in this big old, I don't know that equipment's name, but he was throwing around 10-foot logs like they were nothing. Which
is it the one that like grabs it?
Yeah, it was great. And then he'd take the claw occasionally and just push a tree down, so we didn't have to cut down all the little annoying ones. So that sped things up quite a bit the second day.
Nice.
It was good. So we both got the World Series wrong. So they had a chance 3 times in the final game, and they just blew it. Oh, man. I felt so bad for them. I wanted the Blue Jays to win.
I did too.
That's weird because the Dodgers, just like the money and all that, I'm just like, come on, they bought it. But when in the '90s, when the Yankees were doing it, I was all for it. I loved watching Jeter and all those guys. That was just so much fun.
They're just throwing so much money around now.
Yeah, it's really always been that way.
Did you know that Will Smith has won the World Series the last 6 years?
What?
Will Smith. Yeah.
He's been on the World Series championship team?
There's 2 Will Smiths.
Oh, okay.
There's a closer, and then there's a closer that's been with every other team in the entire league. And then there's the Will Smith, the guy who hit the home run. So he's won the last 2, then the reliever, the closer. He won with the Rangers, the Nationals, and the Braves.
Oh, that's cool.
And then Will Smith won, the catcher won before that. So it's Will Smith catcher, pitcher, catcher.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But the closer was on the 3 different teams, 3 rings. That's weird. That you want him on your team or you're gonna win. I think he retired. I could be wrong on that, but yeah.
Who was the NBA? There was an NBA player that was that way. Well, Kerr was that way, wasn't he?
Yeah, he won a lot.
Yeah, Kerr won he went down to San Antonio after he left the Bulls, and they were winning down there too.
Toward the end of his career. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So,
very cool.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
And you didn't
ask me this ahead of time.
I did ask you.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, but you were being...
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is silly. I don't know what this...
So there's a cultural thing of... I think we've talked about it on here, of, like, there's a meme or a trend or social media thing of how many times do you think about the Roman Empire?
Yeah, that was a trend, like...
So now the question is, what is your Roman Empire? What do you think about every day? Like, what are you thinking about? Just like cultural random thing. What are you thinking about right now? Kind of goes along with, I think, last week's question, what are you learning right now? But
what am I thinking?
Yeah, what pops in your head right now? When you're just sitting there, like, your mind just goes to a place. What is that place? Besides the Bible, besides teaching and whatever you're reading.
I don't know. What are you thinking about? Give me time.
World War II and World War I, mostly World War II.
Oh yeah, you've been reading that book on what's the name of that? On
Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, but also Hate Incorporated or Hate Inc. They're two books. They go together.
Explain that one again.
The Hate Inc. It's written by a guy that used to work for a left business, right? Either the Washington Post or one of those. I don't know. And he saw a trend in 2015 of media controlling or shifting how they reported things. And he explored that, and it led to him quitting being a journalist to write this book to expose what they're doing. And it's not just the left, it's the right as well. It's all of media, to the point of we have two sides now in the country, and there's a lot of hate toward the other side, whatever side you're on. And he says it's the media. It's the media's fault through propaganda. So he used that word, which then I was like, okay, where did I hear propaganda before? World War II. So then I started reading that, and that's kind of taken over. So just thinking of how it started, basically.
Yeah.
Because how do you go from 7 people in the back of a restaurant to an entire government party controlling the entire...
Yeah, you've got to explain that more in the future. You've got to do that sometime.
The Hate Inc. thing?
Yeah, that was you told me more details on that. That was very interesting. In fact, that's something you might want to do for a Sunday night sermon or something like that.
It would be a series for sure.
Yeah, it was very similar to Brother Brent's that he did on social media. He did a 2 or 3 week thing on social media.
Because the guy breaks it down to a 3-step process, and it's as simple as the 3-step process of how you get two sides hating each other. And I mean, if you just look at anything, it's very clear.
Mm-hmm. And then once you know it, you can see it.
Yeah,
and not fall for it.
That podcast that I always mention, they talked about how they can see that they're joking, like how they can see the Matrix now that they because when they see
the ones and zeros,
yeah,
I can see it through there.
When they see a headline or whatever, they're like, oh, I know exactly what they're doing with that, because the guy who used to do that is telling you why they do that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Huh. Very cool.
So what's your Roman Empire?
Oh, man. I don't know.
Just gave you a few minutes to think about it.
I think a lot about AI things right now. That seems to pop into my mind.
Yeah.
Once or twice a day. I'm reading a book on it right now. That deals with possible things in the end times.
Like the future of it, or
future. Yeah, the stuff that's going on now. I mean, whatever. But what could be used for and that type of thing. Very interesting.
I haven't delved into that.
Nothing as detailed as what you're liking here. So.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, that's compelling, right.
I don't know. I find it funny that's a cultural question of like, if you know, you know what that question means. Like I
Uh-huh.
asked you that, and you're like, "What do you mean? Which
Which
Roman
Roman
Empire?"
Empire? Caligula was really
Yeah.
that was a time I really like to think about every day.
Yeah. I think of Claudius. I don't even know if that was an empire.
It is now.
It is, yeah.
No. All right.
Let's get into the Revelation series.
So we had two really good comments this past week. One from Kathy Russell. She had several things that she told me, but one that I thought was very interesting, going back to Revelation chapter 4, and we dissected that a little bit last week, and we were talking about who possibly the 24 elders could be that surround the throne. And this is John, the Apostle John, saying it, and we were saying, wow, maybe they're the 12 tribes and the 12 apostles and all that. And she made a good comment. She said, even though he's looking at them, he didn't know who they were. Well, if they're the 12 disciples, well, for one thing, he is one of the 12 disciples, and he didn't recognize who they were. Now that maybe not that they would look the same. We don't know on that, but I thought that was a pretty good point. But
I just made the noise.
Oh.
I just
I don't.
And now I understand.
She said here, I feel it's almost guaranteed that these individuals will be familiar with in the Bible. I would definitely agree with that.
I didn't even think about him being one of them.
Yeah, that's a good comment.
Because you're not just replacing Judas, you're replacing the guy looking at it.
Yeah.
So
which
I didn't think about that.
I mean, he's the inner core,
he's the inner core, the beloved disciple,
of Jesus. There's some other stuff when we get later. Brother Reed has a really interesting take on John. That's just a little teaser
for the later episode.
He's got a pretty good point. He wrote an entire booklet on it. The other one came from Chris Rabe, and he was asking questions. He started looking at the different angelic beings, and as you look at, there's three different spots mainly that we see here. Excuse me. Revelation 4 verse 6. You go to the four beasts. Full of eyes before and behind, the first like a lion, second calf, third man, fourth eagle. And we went into a lot of detail on that. Well, if you go to, so they had 6 wings. So there's 2 other spots. If you go to Isaiah 6, you are introduced to the heavenly beings that are called, we did not go to Isaiah 6 last week. We only went to Ezekiel. Isaiah 6, the heavenly beings have 6 wings, single face, each of them one of these 4 faces like we saw here in Revelation 4:7, full of eyes, and they're at the throne of God singing, holy, 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 or saying, holy, holy, holy. Now in Ezekiel chapter 1 and chapter 10, the heavenly beings only have 4 wings, and they have all 4 faces. They're full of eyes under the throne, and they're called living creatures. The ones in Revelation, 6 wings, single face, full of eyes, at the throne saying, holy, holy, holy. So, now on top of that, Isaiah 6, the term used is seraphim. In Ezekiel chapter 10, they're called cherubim. So cherubim and seraphim are different angelic beings, possibly, most likely. They're all heavenly beings. Possibly they have different responsibilities. There's some... So I started looking into this. He had me going down a real rabbit hole.
You were in a rabbit hole when I came into your office.
I liked it. It was good. I appreciate Chris bringing this up because we just randomly said, "Oh, they're the cherubims." I mean, we just randomly said that last week, not doing as.
The reason they only pushed back with that, and the reason I thought it was because of cherubim were always in the presence of the Lord, with like the mercy seat and everything.
Well, yeah, so you keep going in deep on that, and, the cherubim are from the very first pages of the Bible. When sin enters the world, Adam and Eve are kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and there are cherubim at the gate of the Garden of Eden with flaming swords, it says. Cherubim or cherubs are mentioned 91 times in the Old Testament. They're from the Garden of Eden till there's 2 cherubim that are on the mercy seat, that are their wings are and their faces are toward each other. There are engravings of cherubim on the wall of the tabernacle of the congregation. Solomon has them on the wall in the temple. So there's some vision of what these are, and they had them. And they seem to have this duty of defense or guarding, where the seraphim, anytime we read about them, they're proclaiming the holiness of God, almost guarding the holiness of God. So
in verse 8 it says, "Holy, holy, holy, Lord God Almighty," which was, and they're singing that.
Yeah, and they have 6 wings just like the seraphim. So it's a good chance they are seraphim, or they could be a third type of angelic being. We don't know, apparently. But it's more likely that they were seraphim, that these ones in Revelation are seraphim versus cherubim, if you sort of put all that together. I don't know if that means anything to anyone, but it was worth looking at. And they're all angelic beings that God has created, and I'll leave it at that.
It does make sense with the connection with the seraphim and the worship of the Lord, why they would be, especially in chapter 5, which we might get into a little bit today, might not, but they start the worship, and
yeah,
that's
very good.
We might not.
Right.
That might mean they're seraphim, or it might mean it's something else.
We don't know, and we'll find out someday.
Yeah.
All right. So we had the start in the heavenlies. We're in heaven, and we see the throne room, and now we start to see future events that are coming about in chapter 5. And I saw on the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on the backside sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof?" And we have this situation where now seals are going to start to be open, and description of items that are going to occur on earth. Okay, so we want to pause today, and I think this is important enough to spend this amount of time on. Jacob and I discussed, do we want to talk about this? There's
different views of this.
Yeah.
This is where people disagree a lot.
Yeah. This is a major difference in belief and thought.
I didn't realize how many different beliefs there are with this.
Yeah. So how do you... So as you read through Scripture, you should read it and allow it to explain itself. That's for sure. And then from that, there's frameworks that develop. How are you interpreting what you read? And there are different views. They call it eschatological views of what's going on. What's the study of the end times? And there are 4. There's a lot more than that, but there are 4 main end time views, and these are the framework to explain what you're reading. And
similar to the churches, but not like the future, that type of thing.
Correct.
But it's not 3 different interpretations of the same thing. It's singular event, but like I don't know. You can't. You're almost choosing one of them, not choosing them, but you can believe all 3 of the interpretations of the church.
Oh, I think all 3 of those.
Yes,
yeah, with the
but
7
with
churches.
this, you can't have one view and the other one because they're separate.
I think here's what the big thing is: what your belief is on how you interpret the end times greatly affects how you behave as a Christian, the purpose of the church, and the actions of the church. So that's where we're at in this. And that's why when you're going to look at different denominations in the Christian church, you're going to say, why in the world do they focus that much time on that, where this church focuses on this? And I think a lot of it comes down to what our eschatological view is. It's easy for me to say today. So
I didn't know what you meant by that until I started
digging into this a little more.
It.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. It changes the way you view.
So you good to go through these with the 4? I gave you
so I just want to be transparent here, where this is where the intimidation really started kicking in for me. Like, because I understand when reading, you got the throne room, but then once you start digging into like these different views and stuff, and you're like, well, what do you believe? Historical, preterist, all these like big words, and I'm like, I don't even know what those words mean, let alone what does it mean with this stuff. And so
I didn't even bring up that one you gave me.
To break it down into the 4, I think these are the big 4 that most people fall in line with. There's other ones that are
little
out there,
bents
but
here or there. Yeah.
They don't have very many followers of it, from what I gathered. So
okay, so the first view. Now, when we say millennial, we mean it's 1,000 years, and so the first thing is the historic premillennial view. Okay, what's that mean? Historic premillennial view. Would you be able to put maybe charts for those that watch this? Okay, so he'll put charts up to go along with this. All of these are wrapped around Christ's return and reign. Will he physically come and reign on earth? Will he not? Will he return? They all believe he's going to return.
Yeah.
But when's that going to happen? Is it going to happen and he's going to reign for a certain period of time? Or is that all in our heart and mind? Those are the types of things. So this historic premillennial view, this one dates all the way back. This would be one of the first ideas around this.
I also
Go ahead.
I also found that the view of these changed based off of what was happening in the world at that time.
Oh, sure. Yeah, without a doubt.
Majorly.
Yeah, so right now we're in the heat of, this view would have been in the heat of the Roman Empire's persecution. So we have Irenaeus, we have Justin Martyr, people like that. The thought in this one is that the church will remain on earth during the tribulation period that we're going to read about, because they thought they were in the tribulation. They're getting slaughtered by the Roman Empire at times, sometimes not, but we talked about that in the church history. Then they believed that the resurrection of believers, when Christ returned, they would reign, and there would be a physical 1,000-year reign, millennial reign on earth by Jesus Christ. And at the end of that would be a final judgment, and the new heaven and the new earth will come in for eternity. Now you say, well, I don't know what all of that. Well, we'll get to that. But, at the end of the 1,000-year reign, judgment occurred, new heaven and new earth.
So explain the historic part of it.
Okay.
Because
the historic is just because
it happened then.
It happened at the first century. We're talking first century.
Yeah.
This sort of died out as the Roman Empire died out, and Christianity became the religion of the empire. So this view was seen as, okay, this wasn't right. So there's some problems with this one. Okay, when we say problems, this is a problem based on what I believe.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you what I believe. Okay,
there's a bent to it.
Everybody's they're going to, if someone's an amillennialist, they're going to have to say a problem with mine. So we'll just say it that way. The problem with this one is to reconcile their view that the church would go through the Great Tribulation. They had to hold to the church replacing Israel. This means to them that Israel, the church would have to become God's covenant people, a spiritual Israel. We've talked about that a lot lately. Any reference to Israel then was actually speaking to the church, which, if you read Romans chapter 11.
Is that Judaizing Christianity?
No, that's replacement theology is
Okay.
what that would be called. Judaizing is when you require, there's all that stuff in
Works.
Galatians, and you're requiring the works, and you're trying to put other things on top of salvation. They would use Romans 9 verses 6 through 8 as proof text, but that they stop reading the full matter through chapter 11. So
The whole thought of
yes.
Paul. Yeah.
So this is closely related to covenant theology. It's not, but it's really close to that. Another problem I see with this is Christ's return gets really messy. All the verses about the resurrection and meeting Christ in the air, only to return the exact same moment. It's like, that kind of thing. Why meet him in the air if you're going to return in that instance for the millennium? So
people today, why would they believe this? Like, what are their beliefs? Since it kind of died out, but there's still people that
I don't know very many. In fact, I don't know.
Because that's the one that really stuck out to me, as this was a first century, because they were what they were going through, the first, second century type of thing. I just don't. Me, it doesn't make
I found
much.
some names of some modern day supporters of this theory, and I did not know any churches that they were connected with at all.
Okay.
Robert Gundry, George Ladd, David Dockery are the ones that I've been told that support that today. I am not familiar with them at all. I'm not saying that I know everybody that's out, but I mean, I try to listen and watch, and as you do as well. But all right, so the second one, go ahead.
The amillennial view.
Okay, so
What does that mean?
That one gets thrown around a lot, right?
Yeah, especially right now. There's just been a resurgence of this. We can talk about that later, but this is a lot of. This is the one that really made sense when I dug into it, and why the churches that believe this do what they do.
Yes.
This is like the major one for me.
Yeah, this is this has the most followers today, based on its link to Catholicism and early Protestant leaders.
Protestant leaders, as in Martin Luther,
Yes,
and Calvin and those guys.
Yeah.
So
this became popular around the 5th century. Augustine is the
of Hippo.
Yes, I have. Did I ever show you that picture?
No.
Some guy who does cartoons, Christian cartoon stuff, church history. He actually has this like guy
Hippo?
on a hippo.
That's funny.
That's a good sticker. So Saint Augustine of Hippo, yes, is credited. He's the one credited for the promoter of this view. Origen, when we did the church history thing, he believed this as well, and
then Luther.
He revives it.
Yeah, they revived it, which, with current trend of Reformation theology or whatever, Reformed theology.
Reformed theology would make sense.
That's why. Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, and Martin Luther was highly influenced by Augustine.
Yeah.
So
there's connections all over the place.
Yeah, the connections are there. John Calvin was connected. He believed this as well.
So I don't really understand. I need you to help me understand what this view actually is. I understand the response to it, but I don't know. I don't truly I don't think I understand what they believe.
Okay, so we have here. I'll miss something of this, I'm sure, but they believe that Jesus will return someday, but there will not be an earthly reign.
So it's all symbolism, or
so there's
idealism.
No physical millennial reign. The 1,000-year reign, the millennial reign that speaks about in prophecy, is symbolized in the lives of his people.
What does that mean? Of his symbolized in the...
Like how we live our Christian life. We are reigning. He is reigning in us as we live our Christian life in this world. So we're bringing the good of Christ to the world around us.
So we're in year 2000.
So yeah, the whole specific number type thing really doesn't. That's not a key there.
Okay.
It's a symbolic thing. So you're thinking
Logic.
more. No.
Not
You're
I didn't
thinking
mean
more
that way.
literal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literal.
So
I did not mean logic. I did not mean that.
So
That way.
persecution will occur to Christians until Christ's return. They believe that. So there is wickedness and good at the same time. At Christ's return, that he will return, he'll defeat evil. He'll resurrect the saved and the unsaved. Judgment will occur, and then we enter eternity. So there's no physical reign on the earth by Christ. There's no the return of Israel. None of that occurs. So the Great Tribulation
is happening as well.
It's symbolic as well. It's represented in wars and disasters that have happened through history.
So the rapture. That's not.
Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah,
They don't believe in the rapture.
Correct.
Okay.
So they believe that Satan is currently bound in the sense of from preventing the spread of the gospel. That he's hindered from not allowing the gospel. So the gospel can spread, and basically the world can become better and better if good prevails over evil.
So what does that produce? Is what?
So that produces
Works.
No,
An emphasis on it, at least.
I wouldn't go that far. It produces social justice. What we're seeing, where we're going to.
You're trying to outweigh the good or outweigh the evil with good.
We're just trying to bring the light of God and as many, instead of focusing strictly on trying to see people come to know Christ, we're also trying to make the world around us better. So instead of, because you and I, our thoughts are very similar on this, where if I want to improve this community, my first thought is I need to see you come to know Christ as your Savior, or whoever the person is. And from that, the Holy Spirit works from the inside out, changing their family, which changes their community. Whereas there would be, I would believe, most that are amillennialists probably would still believe this. I can't speak for them. But there's also this emphasis on social type activities as well.
So you change the surroundings, make that good, so that the people within the surroundings become good. Instead of working in the individual, which then spreads to the surroundings.
I think it's a little more complicated than that, but there's definitely more emphasis on the outside, doing soup kitchens and things like, which those things are needed.
Itself,
yeah. If that person has a need and they're never going to hear what message of the gospel you have until a certain need is satisfied. If someone's starving to death and you're preaching to them the gospel and they can't hear over their own stomach, obviously there's some needs there.
Yeah.
So I'm confusing that. Well, here's my problems with this one. So this view replaces the church for the nation of Israel as well. So there's this replacement theology. Once again, go back to Romans chapter 11 on that. The first resurrection is considered when a person is saved. So there is no rapture. That's just considered when you were saved that occurred. And I believe this takes symbolism to an extreme.
Yeah.
Why
use the word 1,000? I guess I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry.
So this is held by the Greek Orthodox Church, the Roman Catholic Church, Lutheran, Anglican, some Church of Christ, some Christian Church, and some Presbyterians. And we see Reformed theology, which most Reformed theologians, not all, but many lean toward this. So we're starting to see this creep into some Baptist churches as well. Now, this is where you and I were talking. To me, this is the biggest one for how it affects the end time.
How you view,
yes,
how you live your life.
Yeah.
What are you focusing on? What is your priority?
If I believe good can prevail over evil to the point that Christ will return, like there's some level we have to get to, that's going to affect the church's activity. So instead of spending all my time reaching folks with the gospel, getting Bibles printed and getting, things like that, I might be more interested in felt needs. I've used this example many times. If you've ever been around when I taught on this, President Woodrow Wilson was the he definitely wasn't major progressive. He was the son of a Presbyterian pastor. He was raised as a non-millennialist. Now, he's a politician. Who knows how much he really believed. But at the end of World War I, he, with this mindset, end times mindset, he starts the League of Nations.
What does that do?
Okay. So instead, like the United Nations we have today, this was the precursor to that. This is the League of Nations. Believing they were ushering in a new era of good to the world prior to World War II. Now that falls right in line with an amillennialist view. We're going to slowly bring good to this world, solving all the needs of the world that way. Now politically, it might have been the right move, but this doesn't. I don't believe this lines up.
Yeah,
so,
it does if you're an amillennialist.
Yeah. So I agree. I think this greatly affects his actions. Now, if you're an amillennialist and I'm way off on some of these things,
please, I'd love to.
Yeah, please let me know. I've looked at it several times. I restudied this before I came on today, and so this is the view. So,
I would love to know what you think. I would love to have a conversation.
Okay, so because now consider what we're going to read, where you're breaking these seals and all of this destruction that he says is going to come to the world. I have to believe that's all symbolic of things that are just happening through time. They're way too specific for that. It's just not in me to believe that one.
Well, yeah, okay. We'll move on.
Okay, go ahead. I'll be done with that.
No,
but the next one really doesn't.
That also is the Baptist thing of literally taking the Bible as literal. So the post-millennial view is the next one, and this one is also, I don't know. This one doesn't make. This one didn't make sense to me as much as the other ones at all. So
I've never met a post-millennialist in my life. I'll just be honest. I've heard it spoken about all the every time someone does a summary of these.
Well, it kind of got debunked in my way.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you can go through what they believe. You're better at describing that. But this came about in the 12th century, right? And then it kind of increased
down for a while, and then in the 1800s.
And then got completely squashed in the World Wars, right?
Correct. So the thought was Jesus will return, but he's going to return after the millennium. I don't know who's reigning during that millennium, but there's a millennium, and he returns after that, thus post-millennial view. And then after a long period of time, through the preaching of the gospel, most people will submit to God, Satan will lose his power, and after a period of persecution, this plan will move forward, and Christ will rule through his Spirit and the church.
So what are your problems with this one?
The first resurrection is when a person's saved again. once again, there's too much detail to explain away actual events mentioned in Revelation. I don't know what you do with all those.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
Now,
view.
now this is the part that was. You got to put yourself in someone in the 1800s where a large influx of missionaries and
Yeah.
people coming to know the Lord.
Yeah,
and-
it's open the world. Yeah, if you're in the British Empire, people are getting saved all over the world. That have,
Like,
wow,
oh,
the
we're
gospel's
in-
going
we're-
everywhere. Yeah, exactly.
People are coming to know, like, it's just changing the landscape of everything. Are we in the millennial reign?
Yeah.
But then
World Wars hit.
World Wars hit, and that doesn't make too much sense anymore. So it kind of squashed that whole the whole thought.
There are some pretty prominent people that believed this for a period of time. Jonathan Edwards and Charles Spurgeon. I mean, he's Baptist Pope basically, and that's facetious.
It's a joke. Yes, that's
okay.
a joke.
But you could see why they were thinking and of that. So
Yeah, it makes sense of why it got squashed and why you haven't met another person or you haven't met anybody. So then there's the fourth view, and this is the one that our church in our statement of faith believes. This is what both of us believe, and this is our belief. If you want to go ahead.
okay, so this is called the dispensational premillennial view.
What does dispensational mean?
So dispensations are different segments that
big
have been
word.
that time has been cut into. I just did a thing on this on a Wednesday night. If you want to go back to our church website and listen to all of it, but
Because dispensations is periods of time.
periods of time, yeah, and so we're in the dispensation of grace right now, or the new covenant, which would be the new covenant as well. Where so from the time of Christ's return till the time of the church being removed and the start, that's the dispensation we're in. So this will be the next dispensation is Christ's return during his millennial reign. Prior to that, there was the dispensation of the law. Then there was the dispensation, prior to that. I mean, so there's different ones. You can Google that in 5 seconds. You'll get about 20 articles you probably didn't want to read that much on. So the interesting one with this is it wasn't fully developed until the 1800s. It was mentioned earlier than that in the 1700s. And like I said before, Irenaeus back, first and second centuries, they were talking about a very similar view. Most of this was very similar. So the historical premillennial view has many, many things that line up with this. This is 1,800 years worth of more information that's come in. So to me, it is a more focused, like you're turning the lens on a camera and you're like, oh, okay, now we have this piece of information and this piece of information.
More objective too.
Yeah, Living Faith is an institution, and they have a whole. They just did a whole book on this. They put out these little booklets every so often. And they were talking about it makes sense because a lot of people have trouble because this is the newest of views. Well, it's newest of views because we are farther down the timeline and we have more information to make this view.
And we don't have the context of being persecuted like the first and second century.
That is true as well. So the biggest thing I would say on this one is, as we go through the book of Revelation, we take, if it says something that's a literal item, it's not symbolized away. So, there are some things, obviously they're symbolic. It'll pretty much tell you that. But there are things that, this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, and we take that literally. So the thought is here, Jesus at some point is going to come and live or literally reign on the earth for 1,000 years. So all of those prophecies in the Old Testament that talked about the Messiah coming to set up his kingdom, that will occur. Prior to Christ's return, we're going to read about a 7-year tribulation. We're going to see Daniel talks about it. We're going to see how John talks about it here. There's going to be, next week we'll get into chapter 5. We're going to see all kinds of natural disasters and persecutions that are going to occur during that 7 years. And in that 7 years, there are a lot of details of what are going to happen to the Jewish people. There's a midway point that something occurs we'll talk about later, and then another 3.5 years. So we believe there will be a snatching away of the church, what we would call the rapture. Yes, that term's not used in the Bible, like the Trinity word is not used in the Bible, but the concept is there, where we that are here today, that are Christians, and the souls of those Christians that have already passed, they're with the Lord, but this is where the physical body, the new body will be given. Those which are dead in Christ will rise first, then we which are alive and remain shall meet him in the clouds. So this is where we will be with him. This is known as a pre-tribulation rapture.
That's where the term, like, you'll hear people say pre-trib, mid-trib, post-trib.
Yeah.
When the rapture will occur.
When will Christians leave? So that's sort of a different question in there, but it is in there. So there's this thought that Christians will leave ahead of time. That's pre-trib. Some people believe that Christians will leave at the midway point, which it becomes the Great Tribulation at that point. They'll leave at that point. And then others believe we'll live through it as post-tribulation. That's a different subject we can talk about. But following the millennial reign, so Jesus Christ comes, the church is raptured, Christ comes, and there will be a physical reign, and following that physical reign, there will be a final judgment, and then eternity with the new heaven and the new earth. So this is a more literal interpretation of Scripture. And the problem is that is a literal interpretation of Scripture.
Yeah, if you're coming from an amillennial or some of the other ones that use symbolism a lot, that's their main thing of, well, is anything symbolism? How, like, that's,
yeah.
You're just taking it word for word, where they are on the opposite side, where it is all symbolism. And so you can see how those two clash.
Okay, so I'll just ask you the question then. We haven't discussed this. So now you see this as the literal view. How does that affect then how you live out your Christian walk versus a non-millennialist?
So if Christians are going to be taken away, snatched away, and there is that is the point, then the tribulation, then the millennial reign, your relationships with people are not going to be, your priority or your focus is not going to be, okay, I'm making it good, like trying to outweigh the good with bad or whatever. No, outweigh the bad with good. But in that, like we were just talking about, but there's a urgency of,
that's the word.
My friend who's not saved, I'm going, like, he could die tomorrow or have the rapture happen, and he's not with me. There's an urgency to it, and that's how we live our life.
Right.
Us, because there is that day, there is that time. If it's all symbolism, there's not that urgency of
as much,
because it's, I think as Baptists we have that in a lot of things. There's an urgency because of that view.
Correct.
Of there is,
I think
it's coming, come on, get on board.
Yeah.
Because
so
this is going down.
You have a limited number of days on this earth. Even if you live your entire life before the Lord returns, you have a limited number of days on this earth. How are you going to spend that time? You can spend it doing a lot of things that will help people, that those people are still going to die without the Lord and spend eternity in hell. Or or you're going to spend that time. Now, I know that I know there's that fine line where you have to meet certain needs. I get that.
Jesus did that.
Right, without a doubt. So don't say that I'm not for any type of help in that way. That's not my point.
When we go into a VBS or we go into any ministry, yes, we are VBS is not, it's every ministry. We are not just focusing on the physical needs of the person. In every ministry, in our church, everything is focused on them as a soul.
Right.
In
I would
need
say,
of a savior.
yeah, some of our biggest felt need ones would be like CR, Celebrate Recovery, divorce care, grief share. These are vulnerable moments in a person's life where they desperately need physical and mental and emotional help. They also need the Lord. And
because we believe that
the best way to help is the Lord first.
Yeah, not just meeting the physical needs, but
He's going to do the repairing in your life more than anything I can say or do. So now we say all of this. It's like, why did you spend 40 minutes talking about all this stuff? We talk about all of this because as we continue into chapter 5 and beyond, this is the view we're going to explain from. We're explaining from now. We let the scripture speak for itself, but you just need to know that we're taking it literal, and we believe that's how it's going to come about. Not because I'm making scripture fit into it, but because it's the roadmap that best explains the details that we're gonna look. So that's what I have. Did you want to go into anything else?
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
We'll go into
Hopefully
chapter
that
5.
made sense, and we can show some pictures on there that if you watch this, that'll help with. Cool.
A hacker just called me and said he has all my passwords. I jumped up, grabbed a pen and paper, and said, "Thank goodness. What are they?"
That's good.
That was from Aunt Terry. I like that one.
No, that's very good.
I've got another one from Uncle Ron that actually made me laugh.
Oh yeah.
He sent me this week. I don't want to do it this
we're
week.
holding it off.
Yeah, that's a little teaser for next time we say one of his jokes.
All right.
That one got me. That one did too from Aunt Terry.
All right. Well, let's we'll look into chapter 5, and we're going to see as they looked for someone to open the seals. Who was that, and how does that occur?
And comment, what is your Roman Empire?
Oh, there you go. I'd be interested to think.
What are you thinking about right now?
What do you think about every day that intrigues?
It was the Roman Empire for me during that trend, and I was like, man, I didn't want to be a part of that trend, but I am.
All right. Very cool. Well, you guys have a great week, and I hope you're enjoying the book of Revelation. We are, and I'll talk to you later. Love you. Bye.